Okay, let's do this. All gamers know that a cool computer is a fast computer. And how does one make their computer cool? Addressable RGB. Corsair offers a wide range of RGB computer components, peripherals and accessories, which can all be controlled and synchronized from one program, iCUE, allowing for near seamless control of your lighting. Some fun things you can do is set your whole setup to the same color. You can even let Wallpaper Engine take over and have your RGB match your wallpaper. My first experience with the Corsair iCUE ecosystem happened back in 2020, when I had had enough of my crappy membrane keyboard. So, I chose everyone's favourite keyboard, the Corsair K70, with brown switches nonetheless. This was a big upgrade to the typing experience, and it was fun to play around with the addressable per key RGB control. I even made a snake game with a friend. This keyboard wouldn't be the last RGB product I purchased from Corsair. When I was moving to university, I wanted a smaller computer and thought I may as well make it look nicer than the giant black box that was my Corsair 200R case. I decided to go for the Corsair 220T Airflow. It was a compelling deal at £80, considering that it came with 3 RGB intake fans, a clear tempered glass side panel, and the space for all my ATX components. I then added 2 extra RGB fans and some LED light strips, creating a rainbow light box. Yes, I spent over £100 just RGBifying my PC, although this did make it run much quieter as well. I was also looking for a fine mesh dust filter, since my computer was constantly getting clogged with dust due to the poor filtration in my previous case. And after a few months, this is how much dust is in my current computer. It's a big improvement. More recently, I added the H100i AIO cooler, which barely fit, and an RTX 3080, which also works with iCUE. So, what's the catch? Well, let's take a look under the back panel. Yeah, it's a rat's nest. I have tried routing the cables, but there are just so many, and this case doesn't have much clearance. I think this kind of mess is common when building a computer with addressable RGB. However, Corsair's solution uses controller boxes that require their own SATA power and connect to your motherboard via USB 2 headers. This takes up space and uses more cables than some other solutions. Other brands, such as Lee & Lee, have fans that slot together, reducing the number of required cables. Many brands, such as Cooler Master, sell fans that use either the analog 4-pin RGB connector or the 3-pin addressable RGB header, both of which can be found on most mid-range motherboards or better. For example, my ASRock B450 motherboard, which I got in 2018, has both. This removes the need for bulky controller boxes. Corsair does not make motherboards, hence their use of the RGB controller hubs. Another compromise is one needs to use Corsair's iCUE software, which doesn't work with many non-Corsair products, meaning you will end up with multiple RGB controller apps if you have both Corsair alongside other brands' RGB components. You can get around this by connecting non-Corsair addressable RGB components to Corsair's control hubs using adapter cables. However, iCUE doesn't officially support this, so there can be some issues where iCUE doesn't address the right number of LEDs in a chain or in the right order, breaking some lighting effects. iCUE does have support for ASUS motherboards, with the ability to control the analog 4-pin RGB header on the motherboard, but not the 3-pin digital addressable RGB header. This limits your options, because the 4-pin header only outputs one color signal. Every LED connected will be the same color, and the components connected will have to be compatible with the 12-volt analog header. The iCUE app takes up quite a lot of memory when open, but once closed to the system tray, it uses much less. There is a small performance penalty to having this app running in the background. Gamers Nexus has a video covering the performance penalty if you're interested. How about the longevity of Corsair products? Well, nothing lasts forever, and Corsair's products are no exception. Every keycap on my keyboard has a crack in the stem, making them loose enough to fly off during intense gaming sessions. Corsair was kind enough to replace a key when the stem snapped in half. However, this has happened a few times since, and now my keyboard is out of warranty. I had a faulty controller that was probably delivering too much voltage to my LED strips, since it caused two separate sets of strips to go defective, with some of the green LEDs failing, making pink spots where there was supposed to be white. One of my SP120 fans also makes a funny noise on startup. Well, this fan in the middle is spinning much slower and making an awful noise. It's only going to get worse, and I should probably replace it. This happened within warranty, I just didn't bother to replace it in time. They also offered to replace my faulty RGB strips with a 2-week turnaround. Overall, I think Corsair makes a compelling offering as long as you can get past the cable mess and limited compatibility. Being able to control your peripheral and computer lighting all through one program is quite nifty. So, thank you for watching. If you're interested, check out my in-depth video troubleshooting my Corsair Vengeance memory. Not out yet.